Welcome to Vlogmas day 12. Hello everyone. It's the morning here, so I just wanted to check in with you all before the day gets a bit crazy. May have bits and pieces to share with you later on today, with or without talking. We'll see how that goes, but wanted to catch up with you right away. So first of all, thank you so much to everyone who posted about my opinions wanted fabrics. I appreciate your thoughts, and it's got me thinking about various things. Yeah, after I posted that video, I suddenly had an idea for using that velvet for a top, actually, and I think that might be the way to go. It's based on a dress that I've sewn before. It's quite like voluminous sleeves and this kind of yoke detail. I'm not going to describe it well. Anyway, that's kind of my current idea. And so I'm thinking that one or the skirt idea is a go. But yeah, it's back to teaching today and back to reality. No, back to worky things. I'm having a bit of an unmotivated morning, to be honest. And this series, the whole Vlogmas thing, you're coming with me on the day-to-day, so I want to share things like this with you. I don't always, when something isn't super positive in my studio, I don't always share it. Because you don't need to hear me griping. It's not because I'm hiding it, but anyway, this morning I received some very unfortunate news that one of the teachers who works here is not coming back after Christmas, essentially. So she's just finishing up this week and a half, and then she's quitting. And people often soften that word, quitting. I don't soften it for students or for teachers or for anything. If you're quitting, you're quitting, you know. Students will say, oh, we'll take a break. Like, a break is a breakup, you're quitting. I don't say that to them, but like in my head. Anyway, so this teacher is going to be moving on, it seems, which is unfortunate because she's a lovely person, but also unfortunate because now I have to go into hiring mode. And because it's a mid-year disruption for students, which is something I really try hard to avoid, but you can't actually force people. You can only impress upon them how important it is they stay for a full academic year. You can't actually control if something comes up for them and they have to leave mid-year, like it happens. So now I have to start looking for a teacher. And for those of you, who know my work and stuff, you might think that that's easier than it is for me. I have really good systems in the hiring process, and I've done everything to optimize it and to optimize the visibility of our postings and stuff. The issue is Dublin right now. At least that's how I think of it. And it's possibly this generation's culture. I had to jump and get the door there for a second, so probably shifted a little bit, and now Tofu's barking because the doorbell rang. But I believe that's the protein bars and stuff that I ordered, so that's great because I can take one of those when I'm travel teaching later. So I left off this generation's culture. That's a weird way of phrasing it. Here's what I mean. I saw this happening before COVID, but I feel like COVID made it worse. And I don't know whether it's a real trend or something I'm imagining. And I don't know whether it's localized to here, but it feels broader to me. So here's what I'm talking about. I feel like young people, high schoolers, last couple of years of high school and into college years, are less up for working. They don't want jobs as much. And I don't actually, for my teaching positions, I don't necessarily want someone who's still in college. But I'm curious if you've seen that to be the case, that younger people are, maybe it's just here. I feel like they're not, I don't always see them doing the jobs I expect to see them in these days. When I was in high school, I started piano teaching, but about half of my friends would have had an after-school job or working in Claire's Accessories or somewhere like that. And I don't see that. And definitely in college, people would have had part-time jobs, you know, for money to do things. But I don't know. Obviously, during COVID, they didn't have a lot of those opportunities because those kinds of jobs, you know, they were scaling back and whatever. So, yeah, I'm curious if you've seen that. The broader issue in Dublin is not just that, it's just the emigration generation hits again. It's that housing is so expensive here right now that young people are just priced out. So either they stay living at home and then maybe they want to work for us, but a lot of them, they'll just take the opportunity to go travelling. Like whether they intend on living abroad for the long term or not, they'll move abroad, or a lot of them will educate themselves as well, right? So they don't stop at the degree. They do a degree here, then they go on to get a master's, and they often do that somewhere other than here, since it's not our college courses, like degree level is free. It's basically just cheap here. It's called free, but it's not. But yeah, they'll go and get a master's, maybe even a PhD, maybe a couple of masters. I don't know. I feel like there isn't the same level of young people, especially in the arts. Like, obviously people stay if they're doing a degree that much more directly leads to a profession which makes enough money to live in Dublin. But I mean, our rent prices are just, they're astronomical. It's ludicrous. So I do understand. But anyway, my point is, it's really hard to find people. It's getting harder and harder and harder over time. So I do everything I can, and all of the advice I give to other teachers in this position who are starting these kinds of programs still stands, because that does work, and that is the only thing that works. Like, you know, talking to college programs, posting on job boards, etc., etc. I do all of that, but in Dublin, in Ireland I should say, it's really hard. And I know that from other studio owners, other music schools and stuff, that the hiring has just gotten so hard. So that's my stress of this morning, which is why I'm feeling a bit yeah, not feeling incredibly motivated. But I'm going to try and pick myself up. I think soon we're going to go for a walk, which should improve my mood, because it's a beautiful day. There's a nice blue sky, cold of course, but blue and wisps of cloud, so it's nice outside. So hopefully that's going to improve my mood a bit, and I'm going to be able to do a bit of work. But at the same time, I'm not going to beat myself up if not much gets done today. Obviously, I immediately posted the job. Like, I did do that, and I did catch up on all my messages and all the stuff I had to do. So, yeah, it's more not optional, but less immediate projects that I could be working on, but I'm not feeling super excited to do this morning. But yeah, my goal is try and do my next review of the Thinking Theory US edition. I don't think I mentioned that I finished the first pass, but I did. So I need to go over it again and then export it and send it to Carmen and ask her to look over it. She looked over the international version of book 4, so should be easy for her to do. And not obviously, you don't know this, but she's in the US, so it's even easier for her to catch, you know, misspellings in US spelling versions and stuff like that. So I'd like to get that done. My other project is these step and skip books, as I call them. I have a catchier name for them. It's gone out of my head right now, but they're basically just books that include pieces that only use steps and skips, and they're designed for more reinforcement for students who need it at that stage before progressing further with their method book or with whatever else they're doing. And I've got 2 of those ready to publish next year. My goal is to have 4 in this little mini-series. So there's 2 more that I would like to get the words written for. With these, I like to start with the lyrics first. They all have lyrics to kind of make them come to life a bit, because, you know, step and skip pieces are simple. They're not going to sound like, they're not going to be musically amazing. Although making them as interesting as I can, they're really reading practice. So the lyrics make them more exciting and little illustrations of the things and stuff. So I need to write the lyrics for those, but it depends on my mood later, because if I'm in a less motivated mood and try to write lyrics, they're just going to be not great. So there's no point doing it. But yeah, there's that. And then there's an article. So I'm sort of at this stage of December running through in my head all the things I want to get done to wrap up for the holiday break nicely. I have a little thing I try to do, which is that I aim for an earlier date in terms of getting the actual work done anytime I'm going away or taking a break. So, and this does work for me because, yeah, it's not like really a fake deadline, it is real, but basically I only plan work up until for the last full week. So my goal is that this week I get all the essential stuff done, and then next week is for overspill, essentially, because it's only should be a 3-day week. But my other thing, I feel like I'm so rambly today, I'm sorry, but the other thing is that I may plan to work on Monday next week, which is unusual for me, since I will be off for a long weekend following that, and the lead up to Christmas and stuff. So I may be working on Monday. That's because I am due to do a batch of YouTube videos, and it is so much easier to do those on a day when I'm not teaching, because I have to set up all the equipment in here, all the lights and stuff, and a half day like before teaching isn't usually enough to get all of it done. So if I'm, and it's also just so tiring recording videos, not like this, but like the YouTube ones, the more produced ones, I guess. It's so tiring. Like I do loads of them in a day, and at the end of that, I don't want to be teaching because I won't be a good teacher. So I may be doing that on Monday, but that depends now on my voice. So if this maybe cold gets worse, that won't be happening, because there's no point scheduling a video session for when my voice isn't great. But if it recovers, if it doesn't materialize into anything too much, that's the plan for next week. 1 day of YouTube recording, and then several days of just like wrapping up. Yeah, rather than planning to work. I like to have kind of a gradient. That's really the goal, is like I gradually work less and less and less and less, and then I'm off, rather than it's frantic, frantic, frantic. Okay, you're done now. And then you just sort of crash for a break. That's what I find anyway. So yeah, enough rambling from me. Hopefully going to check in with you at some point later today. I had a request to share about the student journey in my studio, like which types of classes they take and stuff. So I'm going to do that later on today at the least, and maybe some other bits to share. See you later. It's the afternoon now, and I've just finished the meeting with the other teachers here. So yeah, it's actually our last meeting before Christmas break. So yeah, it was a normal teacher meeting, just talking about each of the students and what they were up to, and plans for last lessons before Christmas. So I have, since I last saw you, put together some chord charts, meaning like just the lyrics and the chords above them, of a few popular Christmas songs, specifically Christmas songs, like not carols, more popular ones like Let It Snow and stuff. And yeah, put those together. My plan is to print them out and then have them ready for each student's last lesson. So starting on Friday, because we finish on a Thursday next week. So starting on Friday, for every student to have those ready and play through a few of them, just put the song on Spotify and play along, and beginners will just be doing one note instead of a chord. They'll just be doing the root note and playing along, and learning how chord charts work. So that's the idea there. So we got all that ready, or I started to get that ready. And what else happened? I did go through the American Thinking Theory 4 and send that off to Carmen, which is great. Now it's in someone else's desk for a little while, and then it'll come back to me. Probably sooner rather than later, because Carmen's a superstar, and I'll make some edits to that. And what else happened? Not a lot. I didn't get any of those stepping and skipping books done because I'm just not in the right headspace today, so that's fine. I did play a bit of piano myself. I was playing through Big Time Piano Christmas just because I happened to have it there, and I felt like listening to some Christmas music, playing some Christmas music, so that's what I did. And we went for a walk. We went to a different park. They're very similar, but we happened to have two parks in opposite directions from us, both within easy walking distance from us. So we went to the other one, so that's the footage I put in, just of Tofu playing with his ball. He likes that park, I think, even better because the spaces are more open, so he can really see where his ball is going and go on big running loops, so he likes it. And yeah, I said I would talk you through the kind of pathway, as the commenter called it. So someone asked basically for me to talk about what the normal pathway is in my studio for a student, meaning like, do they start with group lessons and then where do they go from there, or do some people start this way and that way? So first of all, for those who aren't familiar at all, I have various lesson formats in my studio. So we do some solo lesson. We do all solo lessons when we're going to students' homes, pretty much, anyway. And we do some solo lessons here as well, mostly for scheduling reasons, or with our older students, adults and late teens sort of thing. But most students are in buddy lessons, which is a lesson that is shared in the middle. So for example, Andy would arrive at 2, and then Steve would arrive at 2:30, and Andy and Steve would be together from 2:30 to 3. So it's just Andy from 2 to 2:30, Andy and Steve from 2:30 to 3, and then just Steve from 3 to 3:30. Okay, so that's the main way we teach, and it's my preferred way, my preferred lesson structure. And then we also have some group classes. So we have a group that's for preschoolers called Mini Musicians, and all the curriculum, lesson plans, everything is included in the course for that, for members of Vibrant Music Teaching to use themselves, but we also run it as a course here. And yeah, we generally have 1 or 2 classes of Mini Musicians. This year it's just 1. So our schedule got super tight this year. And then we also have a program, so that's for beginners who are ages 3 to 5, and there's no practice requirement. And then we have our piano launchpad curriculum, which is for beginners aged 6 or 7 to 10 or so, and that's also a no practice for the first year. It's not that we ban them from practice, just there's no practice requirement. So it's designed to be slow paced and repeating various theory concepts so that they learn them slowly over the course of a year in this relaxed group environment that's all about collaborative playing. So yeah, what's the progression then, now that I've run through how each of those work? So students generally, okay, if they're age 5 or under, generally they'll be offered Mini Musicians first. Now, the idea is that if parents want to sit with their child every day and help them practice, that's awesome. They'll be able to start buddy lessons even if their kiddo is 3. That's actually not an issue, not the issue. The issue is parent involvement rather than age. So, but most parents of younger students, they really just want some kind of music experience, and they like it being centered around the piano, but they're not too fussed about huge amounts of progress, at least the ones that come to us. So they'll generally start in Mini Musicians, but sometimes they start in buddy lessons right away, and then most other people start in buddy lessons. So Piano Launchpad was a group program that I ran all of last year, and it is now a curriculum inside Vibrant Music Teaching that any members can use. I love running it. It was so fun. I think it's great. The kids who have graduated from that are now in buddy lessons. I didn't have room for it this year. So I think for us in our studio, it's probably going to be something we run every 2 years, simply because of the space then for them graduating into buddy lessons. It doesn't make sense to start another cohort if we're not going to have space for them. Not that we're guaranteeing people space, but I'd prefer to be able to offer it, and yeah, we just didn't need another thing to fit in the schedule this year, especially mine. So generally younger students start with mini musicians, older students start with buddy lessons, unless we have a piano launchpad program that's for their age group, and we'll suggest that, but it does vary. And then adults will start with solo lessons. If students are starting with lessons at their home, they'll also start with solo lessons. We do have some siblings who have a small buddy overlap as well at home, but that's the exception rather than the norm. So, and then they continue with buddy lessons. I often get questions about teens and buddy lessons and whether they think it's uncool or something. They don't at all. They just want to be with someone their own age, and that's true of all our buddy students. So if I can't find a good age pairing, then I'll suggest a solo lesson. Age and schedule match, you know. But in general, I've had teens do buddy lessons up to age 17 or whatever, and be absolutely fine with that if they're with someone their own age, because there's plenty of age appropriate things you can do. It's not just all about games, not that teenagers don't like playing games, but there's a lot of improv and theory work and all sorts of things we can do, so it doesn't really depend on age. But yeah, that's pretty much how it works in our studio, so hopefully that answers that question reasonably well. I am going to finish up this video and get it uploaded for you guys before I go to teaching. So I'm about to start teaching now. I have one student who's going to be missing today, so I'll have a little gap, and then I'm heading off to teach at students' home, just like I did last week. So I took you on the journey there last week. I won't do it again because it'll be the same view. So yeah, any other special requests, let me know, and otherwise I hope you're having a fabulous week so far. I hope you're enjoying Vlogmas, and I'll see you tomorrow.